Roundtable family, we back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to EBK Jaaybo the Reaper. I think it's a documentary on him, and fortunately, unlike most people that be on this channel, he's not deceased, so this is just like a synopsis of his life and his career. Let's get into the video.
EBK Jaaybo is one of the hottest rappers on the West Coast right now. He keeps catching gun charges though. And today we're diving into his wild come up and the deadly war going on that makes him stay strapped up at all times. EBK Jaaybo was born and raised in the southeast area of Stockton around 2100 Nightingale Avenue. He said that back in the day when he was a kid.
Hold on, don't actually here, hold on. I just caught it.
Southeast wasn't that crazy, and everyone was just focused on hustling and making money instead of gangbanging. But that all changed when Jaaybo and his homies came up. Jaaybo hopped off the porch when he was around 12 years old and started stealing cars and breaking into houses. He got caught robbing a crib when he was like 14, and Jaaybo tried to do the race and drive off in a stolen whip. He didn't really know how to drive though, so he just pulled over and let the cops take him to juvie. He was in and out of juvie on little charges from 12 to 15
That's
years.
probably like the dumbest, smartest shit I've ever heard. Cause like, he don't even know how to drive. So like, his adrenaline just running. So he just trying to get the fuck away. You feel me? But then he like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Which really, like, I don't think a lot of people at that age would have the consciousness to do that, because he really could have killed somebody and we would have never heard about it. He would have been gone forever. So it's dumb as shit, but it's smart at the same time.
Years old, and none of the early cases were that serious. But when he turned 15, Jaaybo caught his first real charge. It's not clear exactly what went down, but Jaaybo ended up getting booked on an attempted murder case. Since he was a minor when it happened, there isn't any public info about the situation, and Jaaybo has never talked about it either. When he went to juvie, Jaaybo was running phase all the time and getting into trouble. He could have been home a lot earlier, but he said he just wouldn't listen to anyone and kept getting time added for breaking rules on the inside. He actually graduated from high school while he was locked up, but Jaaybo was working on music at the same time from behind bars. He had been rapping his whole life, but never really took it seriously. Back in the day, he would pound on tables at school and freestyle for the homies though. Everyone around him knew he had skills, but Jaaybo was neck deep in the trenches and wasn't even thinking about becoming a rapper. What a lot of Jaaybo's fans don't know is that his dad was actually a poppin' rapper in Stockton back in the day named Rory. Rory came up on Nightingale Avenue too. His mom was addicted to drugs the whole time he was growing up, and his dad was always going in and out of jail, so Rory was mostly raised by his grandma. Rory's grandma was really strict with him back in the day and did her best to keep Rory out of the streets. Growing up in her house, he couldn't even listen to rap because his grandma didn't like all the swearing, but Rory still ended up in the trenches. He started breaking into houses and getting into trouble, but what really changed everything for him is when Rory found a local rapper's tape in an abandoned house he broke into with his homies. Nobody knows who the artist was, but it was the first time Rory heard anyone shouting out Stockton on a song, and that's what made him want to hop in the booth and become a rapper. Another big reason he wanted to get out of the trenches was losing his homies to gun violence. Back in 2002, Rory was chilling on the block with his friend Aaron Vickers and some other dudes. Earlier that day, Rory and Aaron had seen cars go by for a funeral and were talking about how they wouldn't want to go through losing a homie like that. Then just a few hours later, Rory watched Aaron die right in front of him. While they were standing on the street, someone pulled through and started letting off shots. Bullets went everywhere and put holes in the crib they were standing in front of, but Aaron was the only one who got hit. Seeing his best friend get killed like that made Rory realize he needed to switch things up, and that's when he really started going hard with the music. But just like Jaaybo, Rory's trouble with the cops kept getting in the way of his rap career. One time he was on probation, and someone in Atlanta wanted to meet with him about a record deal. Rory had been gangbanging, but really wanted to switch up how he moved and make it out of the streets with music. But his parole officer said he couldn't go to Atlanta. Rory knew it was a huge opportunity though, so he took the risk and went out to Atlanta without telling his PO. Unfortunately, the deal didn't work out for him though, and to make it even worse, his parole officer found out about the trip and Rory got booked again for violating his parole. Rory still didn't let it stop his grind though. He came back home and went right back to work. He started investing his own money into the rap game and set up his own.
I don't know. Ain't Fujiano locked up for the same shit? If you don't know, Fujiano is one of Gucci Mane artists. He signed to 1017. Like, I think he was already signed, already like making money with them and shit. But I think he like cut off his ankle monitor to go on tour or something like that. I don't know. But I mean, with situations like this, like I'm an entrepreneur, so like I understand how like that one chance could like really change your circumstances, but like at the same time you gotta always be trying to play the long game with shit. You feel me? So
On studio. He even taught himself how to make beats so he wouldn't have to wait around for other producers to send him their tracks. It took a while to get his name popping, but eventually all the hard work paid off. Rari was racking up thousands of streams, getting booked for shows, and linking up with other rappers in the city like Tall T. Tall T was a battle rapper from Stockton who was getting a lot of buzz on his name. He had been in the underground scene for years and was about to really pop off. But then in 2012, he was brutally murdered in broad daylight. Tall T was sitting in Long Park with his girlfriend when someone came up and tapped him on the shoulder. Then Tall T turned around and they upped the strap and shot him in the face. Nobody knows why the shooter wanted him dead, but Tall T's death was a massive loss for the Stockton rap game. The shooting also had a big impact on Rari. He'd only known Tall T for like a year before he was killed, but they got super close and were in the studio together all the time. Rari was still on probation and trying to stay out of trouble, and he said that Tall T is the one who really pushed him to stay on the grind and keep focused in the rap game. Rari was also trying to get Jaaybo involved with music back then. Jaaybo was just a kid, but Rari would bring him to the studio and have him sing on tracks whenever Rari had an R&B artist pull through and record. Rari was making all the right moves and was finally on his way up in the industry, but then he was tragically murdered while trying to protect his kids. It's not clear exactly how it went down, but this is the story according to some sources. When Jaaybo was around 11 years old, some teenagers in the hood robbed him and his brother. Rari had just finished 7 years of probation and was really trying to stay out of trouble, but he wasn't going to let someone just rob his kids and get away with it. So Rari allegedly tracked the teenagers down to press them about it. Nobody knows what really happened next, but after Rari found him, one of the teenagers allegedly pulled out a gun and killed Rari on the spot. Losing his dad changed everything for Jaaybo. If Rari was still alive and made it in the music industry, there's no telling what kind of life Jaaybo would have had. But after Rari was killed, it didn't take long for Jaaybo to jump off the porch and get active. Eventually, Jaaybo hopped in the booth and started dropping music.
what's sad about like all the street shit that be going on in the world, like the gun violence, it's like you can say like different artists and celebrities and say like you gotta give the kids something to do, which is very much so true. Like when I was younger, we played sports. That was what we did. Now the young niggas got switches. Like as jits, they got switches. Like it's nothing. Like that's normal, right? But the only thing, I mean, even if they do have resources and other things to do, the only thing that's not gonna change is the trauma, right? So EBK Jaaybo, right? So I mean, he lost his father to some street shit. You feel me? And from what Bert's saying, he said his dad was trying to change his life and change all the circumstances. But you can't change that man pain. And that's just his father. We don't know what homeboys he done lost to. So how do you tell somebody to just let that go? And then his killer is free. Or the killer homeboys is mocking you. How do you do that? Like, that's why I feel like it'll never end. You can kind of like contain it maybe, but like that shit run deep.
He was working with a company called Thizzler on the Roof, and they were really trying to push Jaaybo into the industry. He was running up millions of views on YouTube, but he had too much going on in the streets to really focus on the rap game, and that's how he ended up back in jail. Even though he wasn't even trying to make it in the industry, Jaaybo was getting a lot of buzz on his name on the West Coast. Stockton doesn't have a huge rap scene, but Jaaybo and his homies were kicking off a new wave that was getting a lot of attention in the city. A lot of them were popping off for rap, but behind the music was a bloody war with their ops in the street. EBK has only been around for a few years, but they're already one of the most notorious crews in the city. They say that they're just a rap collective and aren't involved with the streets, but the cops officially classified them as a gang back in 2018. It's not clear how much work Jaaybo was putting in for the crew, but since 2019, they've been making all kinds of headlines for turning Stockton into a war zone. Back in 2019, a dude named Ronald Celestine was shot and killed in a drive-by. Reports say it was 2 EBK affiliates who pulled the trigger, and 3 days later, they spun through his hood again and shot up a candlelight vigil that Ronald's family put on. 5 people were hurt during the shooting at the vigil, and one of them tragically didn't make it out alive.
You see what I'm saying? No, like, like, let's say you the family coming to the candlelight to honor your dead family member, right? And now this shit happened. This gonna turn you to a monster, bro. Like, At that point, it's like nothing nobody can tell you. It's like, nah, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, we just trying to honor, bro. We just trying to grieve over this shit. And they spinning again. Like, hell nah. Nah. I don't think so.
Ronald's cousin Benny Lott wasn't affiliated with the streets at all and just came to the vigil to honor
You see
his
what I'm
cousin.
saying? Like, it'd be like disrespectful, goofy shit. Like, it just sounds good in the song to say that we gonna spin even at the kennel, like we coming back again, even if that nigga dead. I get like the image of it, right? But then there's consequences to shit like that where it's a man that had nothing to do with nothing. He's just trying to grieve for his people. That's why I say this shit will never stop. Cause the nigga, like, let's say that man had a son. I think it's a saying like, if you kill a man, you gotta kill his son too, cause his son might grow up to be your killer. That's why this shit bogus.
But the streets of Stockton are so crazy that you can't even go to a funeral without worrying about getting shot. The cops ended up arresting 2 EBK affiliates named Brian Norman and Raymond Gaines for the shooting. EBK had a lot of heat on them after Ronald and Benny's deaths, but just 2 days after the shooting at the vigil, they allegedly slid into North Stockton and hit up 2 more ops. The police had a lot of pressure to cool the streets off, and a few months later, they ended up booking 9 EBK affiliates for murder, robbery, and a bunch of other charges. Everything calmed down for a while after that, but then a whole new wave of violence sparked up and tore Stockton apart. Before Jaaybo started blowing up, the first dude affiliated with EBK who was buzzing in the rap game was a dude named Young Slowby. Young Slowby was on the grind for years before he started popping. He had to invest a lot of cash in his own career before anyone was even paying attention, but eventually it all started coming together. Slow was making a lot of noise in Stockton, but he really leveled up when he got tight with a rapper from Sacramento named Briss. Slow and Briss both came up in the trenches and had a lot of chemistry in the booth, and their track 2142 popped off and ran up millions of streams. Briss had been rapping for a long time too, but the link up with Slows will change everything for both of them.
I've never heard of
They had
neither one
plans
of
to take
these
over the West Coast together, but what nobody knew back then is that they were both about to lose their lives to the trenches. While Slow and Briss were linking up and putting on for the West Coast, Briss was beefing with 2 other rappers from Sacramento named Uzi Marcus and Mozzie. Briss had personal beef with Uzi Marcus because they both had history with the same girl, and Uzi made the drama public when he dissed Briss on the track 42K and rapped, "Keep it real, you niggas ain't killed a fly, and if it's money on my head, why the fuck I'm still alive? You niggas ain't popping shit, they really just talking shit. Where they at? I'm right here on 42nd with the stick. Lil Briss, he a pussy, and Lil Danny, he a bitch. Keep playing, I'll be outside your granny's with the switch." Briss had issues with Mozzie cause he was homies with a rapper from Sacramento named CML Lavish D. Lavish D and Mozzie have been going back and forth for years, and both sides are taking losses in the beef. After Mozzie dissed Lavish D, his homie Zilla Zoe was murdered first. Then a few months later, his homie Jacoby James was killed too. Lavish D's homie Stunner D was killed next, and that's when Briss allegedly got caught up in the beef too. Rumors said that Mozzie's crew was still trying to even the score, and they caught up to Briss in June 2020 while he was driving down the street. Someone started letting off shots, and Briss crashed into a pole. He hopped out of the car and tried to run away, but unfortunately, Briss wasn't fast enough, and the ops shot him to death. Briss's death had a major impact on Young Slowby, but he was still trying to keep the momentum up and stay on his grind. And a year after Briss died, Slow really hit the mainstream when his track I Love You went viral on TikTok. It looked like he was going to be one of the first rappers from Stockton to really go up in the industry. But then in 2022, Young Slowby was found dead in the street. Rumors say that both their deaths were tied into the beef with Mozzie and CML Lavish D, but there's a good chance that Slow was killed by EBK's ops in Stockton. EBK's biggest ops are a set called Trap Mob, aka Flyboys. Jaaybo's been sending shots at them ever since he hopped in the booth, like on the track The Apocalypse when he rapped, "Up it on the biggest nigga moving, I'm a Glock lifter, a shot sender, and I'm spanking any mob member," and "Hey brother, get up on that hoe and I'ma knock sister, fuck the mob, I told y'all keep my name up out y'all cock lickers." Rumors say Trap Mob might have been involved with Young Slowby's death, and Jaaybo aired him out about it on the track Slowby Mode. Jaaybo was locked up when Slowby was killed, and on the track, he rapped, "It's not a nigga around me loafing, everybody strapped. Just left Scribner Street, where was everybody at? And I'm with Rico from the 10 when niggas come to sack." And
That nigga different. I'm not gonna lie. If he had something to do with that man dying and he named that shit still in slow B mode, I might be a little confused. Maybe that was his homeboy. I think he had something like, I don't know. All right, but if he killed that man or had something to do with that man dying and then named a song after him, that is diabolical. All right, and his name is fucking EBK. You feel me? That's everybody killer. If you don't know, that means he beef with anybody. Granny get shot too when she playing. Shit crazy, boy.
And a flag just got squashed. Bring your brother back. Suckers kill Slow B. Now I'm home. Another tomato coming. What's really weird about the situation with young Slow B and Briz is that Jaaybo is still bumping Mozzie's music on social media. There's nothing tying Mozzie to Slow's death, but a lot of fans are confused because Briz was beefing with Mozzie when he died, and young Slow B was super tight with Briz. Then when people were dissing Jaaybo for not sliding after young Slow B died, he hopped on IG and dissed Mozzie's dead homie K Squeeze. K Squeeze allegedly kills another rapper.
So I was wrong. Slow B was his homeboy, and then Slow B and Briz it was locked in, but you know they both had passed. Briz passed first, then Slow B, and then while this was going on, the Jaaybo nigga was locked up. He came home, but then Mozzie is beefing with all three of them niggas.
Named Lil Jody Woe. Then one day later, K Squeeze was shot to death too. Jaaybo wasn't just sending shots on songs on social media though. He's known for throwing hands every time he gets locked up too. Once he was locked up in county with a massive op named C-Walk, who everyone was allegedly scared to fight, but Jaaybo didn't back down from the fade. During an IG live session, Jaaybo said that C-Walk dissed him right when he got to jail, but they couldn't fight because the yard was hot, so they planned to run the fade the next day.
What's up, nigga? He like, yeah, I'm C-Walk, cuz townhomes, da-da-da. I'm like, nigga, I'm Jaaybo, Southeast, nigga, EBK. The nigga like, nigga, fuck the Southeast. I'm like, damn. So we get to the yard or whatever the case may be, bro. He like, bro, it's hot right now, so we gonna fade in the morning, bro. Or unless you want to go to the hub. I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to go to the hub. We gonna fade tomorrow.
Jaaybo admitted that C-Walk beat him, but during the fight, Jaaybo ended up scratching C-Walk's eye.
So we get on the yard. I ain't gonna lie, he with me. Sure, he shake my hand like, yep, on my mama, I respect you. He like, but you scratched my eye, cuz you want to go again? And I keep it a band. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. We can program. He with me again. I ain't gonna lie. Blood with me again.
A lot of dudes won't admit to
I ain't from the West Coast. I'm from the East Coast, and I'm actually from the South. Like I'm up. You feel me? I don't know if you can tell about the accent, but look, he said we can program. I don't know what program means. So if you from the West, you know what program means. Put that in the comments because I'm lost as shit on that.
Losing the fight, but Jaaybo knows that if you're really throwing down like that all the time, you can't win them all. A lot of people were clowning his homie, EBK Young Jock, for getting his chain snatched last year too. But Jaaybo said just cause you get robbed one time doesn't mean anything.
Shit happens, you feel me? That don't tarnish a nigga gangster or tarnish a nigga image just because a nigga got something took from him. I'm not saying that it's cool to get something took from you either, you feel me? But when you slip up, shit like that happens.
Some fans were surprised that Jaaybo was standing up for Young Jock though, because there used to be some tension in the EBK crew.
You get robbed. It depends on how you get robbed though. Like I don't know if y'all know this, but I had did the 50 Cent video, and a nigga named DT had got the chain, the 50 Cent G in the chain. He got it snatched in Chicago. You feel me? He was moving like a goofy. His face card forever fucked up out there just because he didn't want to fucking listen. But in a situation like PNB Rock, he would still be here potentially if he could have just given it up. I don't know if he resisted. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if he could have made a decision to just get the chain up, hopefully he got insurance on it, he'll get it back. And now you still here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your family needs you more than you need your street and your gangster reputation. That's just real shit. You feel me? And like I said, it just depends on how that shit happen. Like, if you can fight for it or whatever, then yeah, but 9 times out of 10 niggas got guns. And if you a street nigga for real, and they know you known for having a gun on you, then now they know they gotta bring guns into the equation. So, I mean, fuck the image, bro. That's what I would say, but I'm not a street dude, so.
According to rumors, Jock's older brother, Hari B, snitched on the case with EBK Osama and got him locked up. It's not clear exactly what went down, but it caused a lot of issues in the crew, and Jaaybo even dissed Hari B on the track and raps. Hari turned rat, he couldn't take the hit. They told that nigga 20 years, he started eating cheese. Luckily they were able to squash everything though, but before they could really focus on putting EBK on the map in the rap game, Jaaybo ended up getting locked up again. In April 2023, Jaaybo caught a bunch of gun charges and was in jail for another 6 months before they let him out on bail. This time when he came back home, Jaaybo said he was really tightening up how he moved. He ended up getting out of Stockton and was way more focused on the rap game too. A lot of his music used to leak back in the day because he'd have a bunch of homies in the studio with him and the tracks would end up on the internet before they were supposed to. But Jaaybo told No Jumper he was getting way more serious about rapping and being more professional in the studio. It looked like Jaaybo was ready to go all in on his music and leave the street drama behind. But then in January 2024, news broke that EBK Jaaybo was back in jail for the gun charges he got booked for in 2023. Nobody knows why Jaaybo got locked up again, but it's probably over a probation violation. The judge didn't even want to give him bail last time because he has so many priors on his record. So if Jaaybo did violate the bond, he'll probably be sitting behind bars till he goes to trial or takes a plea deal. Hopefully the case doesn't go left for him though. Jaaybo is buzzing more than ever in the rap game right now and has serious potential to really put Stockton
And it
on
looked
the
like Buddy was having too. I'm a pocket watching when I, you know what I'm saying? Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm a pocket watching, you know what I'm saying? Look like Buddy was having. Cause like some dudes, what they do is they'll put 100 on the top, 100 on the bottom, and he be like 20s and 10s and 5s or whatever else to the middle of that motherfucker. He in the middle of the bankroll and it's still 100 falling on the ground. So Buddy's having. You know what I'm saying? Buddy's having. So there's no need for none of this street shit no more, buddy. Your name is big. You know what I'm saying? Keep making the money. Keep getting the streams. And they go sign you a deal. Don't sign no 360, but Buddy was having. You know what I'm saying? But that's the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all the love that Ron said we been showing lately.
Shit, I ain't trying to talk it out. Shout out to my nigga, the one who passed me out. We popping up 30,000 Richard.